nightmare retirement consultation.
Yeah, no pain, no gain, right? No risk, no reward, right? We're going all risk, see? We're going to put everything you got in the market. You're going to love it.
Don't walk, run from that office and go to your future retirement partner with your best interest in mind. With a retirement plan that includes growth, protection, and income. So you can sleep well at night. Call Bryan Gaiser of Gaiser Financial, 888-285-0829, 888-285-0829.
Bryan Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Bryan Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and education services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity from Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal issues may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions relative to these issues.
On today's show, we have strategies, lessons, and words of wisdom from the game of football to apply to your financial plan so you can retire like a champion. We kick it off right now.
Achieving wealth in your retirement.
Get on the right road in the beginning now so that you don't make big mistakes down the road in retirement.
A better life in your retirement.
My parents made some costly mistakes, and I am passionate about helping people avoid those same mistakes.
Bryan Gaiser can help you get there.
I want to be your accountability partner in retirement.
It's Wealth Through Wisdom Radio with your host, Bryan Gaiser.
Welcome once again to Wealth Through Wisdom with Bryan Gaiser. I'm Chuck Caton, along with the creator of the P4 retirement process. Remember that Bryan is Greensboro's own. He's got the heart of a teacher. And you know what that P4 process is all about. You've got to be proactive, plan, pursue, and prosper. And remember, you'll see him Sunday evenings. Wealth Through Wisdom Television airs on ABC 45 at 6 o'clock. All right, big game. And, of course, we have to congratulate both the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. But the big game of retirement is what we're going to talk about here. And now you can retire like a champion because while the football season's coming to a close, we can still celebrate the season and share a few tips to help you find your footing on the financial planning football field. So, Bryan, let's talk about that. I guess we have to ask our listeners, where are you on the field? We talk about the financial red zone. We always make that football analogy. So let's break that down a bit for the casual football fan. What do we mean by that financial red zone?
You know, financial red zone, we're talking about 5 to 10 years, depends on the individual we're dealing with, but 5 to 10 years away from retirement, maybe even partial retirement, things of that nature. But it's all about, so once you hit that financial red zone, Chuck, you're within that, like I say, that 5 to 10 year retirement period. These years are so critical, right? Making financial decisions. Everyone has so much more impact. It's like, should I kick the field goal? Should I not this other night when the Lions were playing the San Francisco 49ers? Should I not? Should I? You're going to make some mistakes, but you got to recover from those mistakes. It's not about making mistakes, but it's about reducing them down to the minimum. And then sometimes you're just going to be surprised. So that missteps in this area, though, are much more costly. Obviously, if that happens in the first quarter as opposed to third or fourth quarter, it's not as bad of an error. And all errors are bad, but you're not trying if you're not messing up a little bit. But my point is this: I don't want you to get into retirement messing up. You want to feel extremely confident when you make a decision. You want to feel extremely confident when you make a financial decision that could go a little bit sideways, but it won't overcome you because you made much healthier decisions before that. So it's about reducing your risk. Here's the key. Here's the two things where people mess up. One, they don't really think about where their income sources are coming from, and let's reduce risk. We're getting close now to retirement. We're not going to be making any more money. Let's reduce risk. Some people want to just keep pushing it, Chuck.
Well, it's interesting, Bryan, because a lot of people could be insouciant about this and say, I don't really think about it 5 or 10 years because I don't even think about retirement that far ahead. So it's kind of a catch-22. I know I didn't in terms of when I wanted to quit working, and I'm actually still doing something to keep active. But I wonder if most people even think about that red zone. I think they've just been educated about this in the last few years by people like yourself.
Yeah, I mean, they really don't think about the red zone. And the red zone, if you take that in football, that's the 20-yard line forward. That's, do I kick a field goal? Do I throw a touch? Do I try to get the first down? Do I punt? And you make that decision. What am I going to use? My special teams? Am I going to use my offense, or am I going to rely on my defense? And everybody should have a good offense, defense, and special teams when it comes to retirement. And I always tell you this too, Chuck, is that number one, income is your number one. You got to get the offense right. You got to get that income right. Then next, you got to get that defense right, which is growth. Growth isn't going to all come at once. You've got to look at, okay, what are the fixed income options? What are my, some risk options? And then when it comes to protection, you got to set aside expenses for things like long-term care. In the event one of the spouse passes away before the other in an untimely manner. I just dealt with that myself with one of my clients. I came in October, looked perfectly fine, just going for a checkup that day. 3 months later, pancreatic cancer got him, and he didn't expect that. And he had just retired 1 year into it. So you've got to think about these things. What if that happens to me? What would my spouse be able to, pick up the pieces? So really, this financial red zone is that critical time where every decision means a whole lot more. There's a lot more impact with every decision you make the closer you get to retirement, because you're not working that many more years to make up the difference.
All right, so let's talk about advancing that position once you're in the financial red zone. You can make your way down to the end zone by doing something called diversification.
Yeah, the word diversification, that means, balancing out your portfolio to a strong offensive line is a good way to look at it. You need a really strong offensive line so that you can, work your way down the field. Don't worry about getting everything all at once. And it's very, very critical that you chip away. The closer you get to retirement, you want to chip away. You want to say, hey, I've got my income in a surplus manner. Remember, I always say that. Acquire surplus income in retirement. Set yourself up for surplus income in retirement. Some of you are lucky enough to have a pension to assist with that greatly. But you can create your own if you don't have a pension when you retire. So you got your 2 Social Security pensions, which are annuities. You got your pension maybe from work that's an annuity. Maybe you need to look at creating your own income stream that you can't outlive. In addition to that, you can pass it on to your spouse to make sure that they don't run out of money, because they're going to lose us Social Security one day. So it's all about good balance of defense, offense, and special teams once again.
All right, let's talk about the defense. How does that play into the process?
Well, it plays in big time. I mean, defense means I'm preserving my assets. It's thinking more on the sides of preservation, making smart moves, not allowing big plays, if you will. So in other words, not taking too much risk where a big play can take you down 10, 20, 30%. Because see, if you lose 25%, you got to make 33% to get back to where you were. That's a long way. That could be a really long way. And so preservation is really important. Remain focused on that defense, especially when considering risk management components in the financial red zone. And I mean this, folks, you got to really think it through. Think about this. If you have surplus income in retirement, what that basically means is you have additional funds. The more surplus income in retirement, the more you're able. That's kind of a surplus income in retirement is its own defense, even though it's an offensive play, because you can continue to invest in yourself. You're able to fund your rainy day bucket, maybe a long-term care bucket, whatever it may be. You've got excess funds. When you have a mindset of excess, you just tend to make much better decisions instead of knee-jerk decisions.
All right, so now that you got the offense and defense built, what do you focus on next?
Well, you want that perfect playbook, right? And the playbook that the San Francisco 49ers used against the Detroit Lions might not be the playbook they use against the Kansas City Chiefs, because they're two different teams. There's some similarities, but they're two different teams. And so you got to think about it from that standpoint. What are the strengths of my opponent? Your opponent is making it Mr. Retirement himself. How do I work through retirement? How do I work through the challenges of retirement? That's the same thing when it comes to football. How do I work through the Chiefs? How do I work through whatever team I'm facing? How do I work through them? That playbook is going to be different. Granted, we got a whole lot of plays we study throughout the year, but it's the mix of those plays at the right time. And one of the big things you want to start concentrating on 5 to 10 years from retirement is make sure you have strong income, because that you cannot outlive. That's going to keep coming month after month after month. So when you do make mistakes, it helps you make up for them. So big thing is You don't play every situation exactly the same. It depends on your circumstance. That's why putting together a built plan that's built around you and your team. What players do you have? Do you have pensions? Clearly, you're going to have Social Security, at least for a little while. You're going to have Social Security. What does your nest egg look like? Do you have debt? All of these kind of variables come into play. You build a plan built around defending against what you're up against.
All right, so you're building that offense and defense, but if you don't have, as you've mentioned so many times before, a written plan, you might not be coming home with the big game championship ring.
Yes, you might not. And and things happen in life, the unexpected. Just mentioned the unexpected in the previous story, but really it's all about trying to avoid the unexpected or trying to lessen the unexpected, because the unexpected is going to happen. You've got to build a plan. So building the offense and defense, also special teams, as I like to put it. But if you don't have a written plan, you might not be coming home from the big game with a championship ring. Is so true, Chuck. I can't even tell you. Written plan is essential. But not only write the plan out. If you don't, if you join a gym and you don't go to the gym, what good's the gym? So you got to create that plan, and you got to be motivated. You need someone to make that plan simple enough. Now, it's taking the complicated world of retirement and making it simple, right? With practical wisdom. That's really what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Folks, there's just no other way. You've just got to have clarity. Clarity is what helps you overcome the unexpected. Folks, what we do is we put together a financial plan. My investment team, we have certified financial planners, certified financial analysts on our team, right? We work together relative to your situation. When folks sit down with me, I just go over, what is your big picture? What have you saved? What are your debts? What kind of instruments are you invested in? What kind of income streams do you have? Do you need more income streams? We go over the whole gamut. It's not hard. It's just a little bit of work's involved, right? It's not joining a gym is not hard. For some reason, getting in your car and getting there is a different thing, or walking to the gym if you're close enough. It's the same thing when it comes to a retirement plan. Build a plan that is simple to understand, that tackles the big problems. That's what it's all about, folks. No cost, no obligation. Give us a call. We'd like to sit down with you, build that plan. Once again, at no cost, no obligation to you. Chuck, tell you how.
All right, it's 888-959-1641. That's 888-959-1641 to sit down with Bryan Gaiser. And that's why we offer you this opportunity to review your individual circumstances. Again, at no cost, no obligation, as Bryan just said. He's got people standing by right now to take your phone call so he can call you back and to make that no cost, no obligation appointment so that you can find out how much risk you're maybe taking right now, if there's any red flags that could be potential problems for you in the future, and how much you're paying in fees or commissions. We could vet that all out, potential tax liability, and, of course, finding security in a lifetime retirement income plan that includes maximizing Social Security benefits, because it's all about the core plan that leads to a comprehensive one. So make that phone call right now. Don't procrastinate. That's not one of the P's in the P4 retirement process. It's 888-959-1641. We're talking Super Bowl next week. A couple of weeks from now, week and a half or so, with Bryan Gaiser, and what's coming up as we get ready to break.
Chuck, the big game of retirement is undoubtedly the biggest game of your life. Coming up, we have quotes from a new football legend and are exploring how they relate to the retirement planning game.
How's the market doing?
It's fine.
How's the market doing now?
The same as it was 5 seconds ago.
Stop worrying about market volatility. A good retirement plan will keep you from panicking. Get that solid retirement plan with lifetime income and protection from retirement pitfalls. Call Bryan Gaiser of Gaiser Financial, 888-285-0829, 888-285-0829.
We are back here on the NFL Today, a.k.a. Wealth Through Wisdom with Bryan Gaiser. I'm Chuck Gayton. And once upon a time, I was a football broadcaster, proudly so, at the University of Michigan. So I wish, as an aside, I wish Jim Harbaugh all the best.
The University of Michigan champs.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I'm wearing my Michigan sweatshirt right now. But let me digress to Tell you that the creator of the P4 retirement process is Bryan Gaiser. He wants you to be proactive, to plan, to pursue, and to prosper. And that number, once again, in case you missed it before the break, is 888-959-1641. Well, Jim Morrow once said, and they're doing actually a betting commercial with him now. And boy, is he aged when you see that TV commercial, because he was a guy that said...
Are you kidding me?
That's right. Playoffs. Don't talk about the playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs. I just hope he could win a game. And Jim Moore, of course, who coached the Indianapolis Colts when he did that. Sports world filled with a lot of famous quotes, including that one. And oftentimes these quotes really relate more to our lives than they do sports. So how do famous quotes from football legends relate to retirement planning? Well, we're going to tell you. That's why we're getting into this segment and explaining all this with that, Lucy, as Desi once said. So here's Vince Lombardi. You could decipher this one for us here, Brian. He said, the only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. Right.
Isn't that beautiful?
That's true.
That man, he was a poet and didn't know it, because he also said there's no greater success or no greater feeling than being knocked to your knees and coming back. And there is a lot of truth to that. And kind of experienced it this past week. And even if it's from a team that I'm not real big on, but they got knocked to their knees, they came back. The success, how did they come back? Great work ethics. They got a little off track. Well, they were able to pull themselves back on track. The only place success comes from is just hard work, hard, intelligent work, right? But it's making the complicated more simple. It is complicated to run 10 miles, but it really isn't, because you start out 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Over time, you could get to that 10 mile. You can get to that half marathon. If that's your desire, it's got to be your desire. It's certainly not one of mine. But that being said, staying in excellent health, things of that nature are kind of top of my block. And when it comes to retirement, if you want a healthy retirement, you kind of got to stay on it. You're the CEO of your own retirement, and you've got to step up to that place. And that takes a little bit of work, takes a little bit of time. It takes consistency. It takes atomic habits, another book I talk about from time to time. But it takes habits, good habits. And that's really what it boils down to, Chuck.
All right, here comes another quote, and you can decipher this one from Herm Edwards. You remember this one. You play to win the game. I did my best imitation of him. You play to win the game. And hello, you play to win the game. You just don't play to play it. It's a great thing about sports. You play to win. And this is Herm Edwards saying this. And I don't care if you've got any wins. You go to a play to win. So when you start telling me it doesn't matter, then retire, which is what this program's all about, getting you ready for retirement. So get out, because it matters. That's what Herm Edwards once said.
Yeah, well, you got to win in retirement as well, Chuck. You absolutely got to win in retirement just as much. I mean, it really is about winning. And does that mean you got to figure out what your winning is, right? You got to design your retirement plan around your winning. That's what clients of mine talk about. Is this probably the biggest thing that I probably get complimented on from clients, and from which I call my retirement partners. What we get is the fact, the income thing, Brian, you were so right. Get that income strong. When there's bumps in the road, I'm just not that concerned, because I spend only 70, 80% of my income, maybe 60% of my income. As I get older, I spend less. And there's just the peace of mind that gives me. I can't tell you. And knowing that I can do extra things for my grandchildren, and that money will be right back next week, or extra things for my kids, when they appreciate it, of course, is huge. So, you got to play to win. And play to win is to set yourself up to win. You set yourself up to win with a true retirement plan that's built around you. It's built around you for income, growth, and protection.
Absolutely true. Well, the legendary Bear Bryant out of the University of Alabama once said, it's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win that matters.
Sounds like work to me. What about you? And
Absolutely.
It is a will. It's a mindset. He's talking about a mindset. You plan, then execute. Can't create a plan. You can't think today that tomorrow I'm going to wash the car. Then you get out there and just look at it and keep thinking how you're going to wash the car instead of cut on the hose, fill the bucket, wash it. I know that's a simple example, but it is play to win. It is play to win. You play to win by setting yourself up, by having all these little areas covered, all these different areas in retirement covered. That's simple to do. It just takes time, effort, and the ability to be proactive. And that's exactly what he's talking about. You got to prepare to win. You got to have the habits of a winner. And the habits of the winner are consistent people.
I suppose you're right, except I'm going to wait till it rains. That's how my car is going to get washed. That's what a rainy day fund is all about, isn't it?
But hey, at least you're following through with your plan.
There you go. Absolutely. Now, J.J. Watt.
I admire you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. J.J. Watt was on TV a week ago because he's not playing in the playoffs anymore. With his team. He was hurt anyway, but if you do the bare minimum and expect the bare minimum, that's all you're going to get in terms of results. That's what he said. Bare minimum results.
I mean, think about it. You're going to get what you prepare for, right? I mean, clearly, you're going to get bare minimum results when that rain hits that car wash.
I know. I've been praying for soap, too, but it never happens. That's
not the extra mile. No, but honestly, I mean, you do got to go the extra mile. It's really just about having living more by a schedule frees up your time. A lot of people think it's the opposite. Can you imagine a room without dresser doors? You save money. Don't put any closets in my room and no dresser doors. Can you imagine the mess you would have?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing. You just got to, it's about, if you prepare for the bare minimum, and then that's really what we're talking about, but put in the closet, put in the walk-in closet, put in the right shelves. I know that's such a simple analogy, but that's really what it is. It's about organizing your retirement the same way you'd organize a room for all the stuff you need. And that's really what it boils down to. He's saying if you're going to, you want to, once again, strive for mediocrity, you'll get there.
Yeah, that's true. Well, when you don't give up, you can't fail. That's what Adrian Peterson once said.
One heck of a running back. He didn't give up on having children all over the place, but he was one of my favorite. I've seen him play. Adrian Peterson, one heck of a running back. And you cannot fail. All it is temporary failure. But you can only take temporary failure to failure if you quit.
That's right.
Quit is failure. And that's what he's saying here. You can't give up. You don't ever give up. And it's so true. If you just keep going and going and going, nothing beats persistence and consistency. And that's Calvin Coolidge had a great saying on that. And it's, nothing in the world can take over persistence and consistency. Just keep chipping away with the thought of winning.
Well, a lot of our Carolina Panther fans of old will remember Cam Newton, the good Cam Newton at least, but you can't make progress without making excuses. So cannot make progress with excuses.
Yeah, if he just got his attitude and mindset a little differently, I think he probably could have done a whole lot more. He was too interested in the flash, it seemed like to me.
Yeah.
Don't think he's a bad guy. I went down to his rookie camp. Got invited down in the radio world, and he just had carried himself differently, for the lack of a better word. I like what he's saying here. If he, just need to think about character a little bit more. So character and not making excuses is really critical, but I do love what he says here. He's solution oriented, I guess, from that standpoint. He just keeps going and going and going and going.
Well, one of the other legendary receivers of all time was the San Francisco 49er, Jerry Rice, whose record for receptions in postseason play was just eclipsed by Kansas City's Travis Kelce. Today I'll do what others won't. So tomorrow I can accomplish what others can't. That's what Jerry said once.
He played 20 years in the NFL as a wide receiver. That's just crazy. 18 years as a quarterback, 20 years as a wide receiver, 20 years at all in the NFL. That's just amazing.
Yeah.
For, obviously, 49ers and Raiders. But the thing is, you know what he did for 20 years? He was the first one at practice and the last one to leave. That was his goal. Everything else just worked in between. He had great habits in between, but every day he had one goal, and that's to be there first and the last one to leave the practice field.
There
and he
you go.
did it.
Mm-hmm.
And there, enough said there. You got to have that same mindset in retirement. Enjoy your retirement, but you got to have that same mindset.
And finally, Peyton Manning once said that pressure is something you feel when you don't know what the hell you're doing. As we wrap it up.
Sometimes I think there's two different. Pressure can either make you feel panic urgency, or pressure can make you feel calm urgency. And Peyton Manning is one of the best with calm urgency, and probably the best, without a doubt, was a quarterback for the New England Patriots for years, Tom Brady. He had, in the face of absolute panic, looked like you should be panicking. He never panicked. He had that calm look on his face. He had the ability to go somewhere where most people can't go, and that's stay calm and really methodical when he's down. And calm urgency is really the key under pressure. Folks, you don't even need to let things get to calm urgency, but there will be times in life where something happens. People get hurt, people get injured, things happen in life. The market falls out. Just if you take the current economic climate right now, they're bragging about 3% GDP, but the problem is they borrowed $2.5 trillion to make $1.5 trillion. You're still down another trillion plus the interest on that. We're borrowing money at unbelievable rates, and if you're just looking the other way, it's going to be a point where you're going to put yourself in a stage of panic urgency. Let's make it calm urgency, because they are definitely taking us down that road, and it's time you put on it's time that you get yourself built a plan that works for you, one that's simple to understand, built with a lot of just simple, practical wisdom. Folks, no cost, no obligation. We're going to look at your income situation. We're going to build an income plan for you, a growth plan for you. We're going to look at protection roads that you should take as well. Look at what are you going to do about long-term care? What are you going to do if something happens to one of you in the early stages of retirement? I hope that doesn't happen, but you've got to be prepared so you can calmly take care of urgent situations and enjoy the other 99%. But it's not just going to happen. Put together a true retirement plan at no cost, no obligation. You don't even have to become a client. Take advantage of this offer. Chuck's going to tell you how to get in touch with us.
All right, it's 888-959-1641. That's 888-959-1641. And the first steps to really sit down with Bryan Gaiser, and if something we're talking about resonates with you and you feel the need to maybe even get a second opinion, get it from Bryan Gaiser, a fiduciary, to make sure your plan is really aligned with your risk preferences and your philosophy. So once again, people are standing by right now at Bryan's office to take your phone call at 888-959-1641 so that you can get that no cost, no obligation appointment with him. Let's take a break. What's coming up football-wise next?
When we come back, how can you secure the lead, win the game, and retire like a champion in 4 easy, practical steps? Stay tuned.
At Gaiser Financial, we believe in better. A better way to invest, a better way to serve you, and a better result. Our P4 process begins with us listening. Take advantage of our complimentary retirement strategy session by calling Bryan Gaiser, host of Better Living and president of Gaiser Financial, at 888-285-0829. That's 888-285-0829.
Wealth Through Wisdom with Bryan Gaiser is continuing with our football theme for obvious reasons here. And the first weekend in February at 888-959-1641. That's the phone number. You can retire with confidence with the P4 retirement process creator, who is Greensboro's own with the heart of a teacher, and that's Bryan Gaiser. So don't forget to be proactive, to plan, to pursue, and prosper. Watch him on Channel 45 at 6 o'clock on Sundays, as well on Wealth Through Wisdom TV. Well, sometimes in the fourth quarter, a football team with a shaky lead will change its strategy, and of course, passing and risking an interception might be too risky, so the team might attempt to run the ball with the best ball handler trying to grind out first downs in hopes of running out the clock. But after the huddle, the team assumes their formation at the line of scrimmage. They snap the ball, and those moments make for exciting play calls. But when we talk retirement, if you're running into a defensive stone wall and can't run the ball, you're likely not going to be able to leave with much of a chance. So how do you close the gap so that you can secure your lead and take to victory by running the ball on first down and getting 7 or 8 yards instead of 2 or 3? Well, Bryan Gaiser has a couple of tips about that. In fact, 4 in all in this segment. All right, let's talk about this now. Again, when you're talking about your retirement game plan, we've talked about the red zone 5 to 10 years before retirement, Bryan, but I think within that time period, you have to be thinking, number one, if there are any gaps that you need to cover in your retirement plan, and that's where you come in.
Yep, absolutely. Are there any gaps? What are we looking at here? If all you have a guaranteed income of Social Security, Chuck, and it only covers half the bills, 60% of the bills, then you have a gap. How do you close that gap? Generate sustainable, reliable, protected income for life to work in conjunction with those supplemental funds, with Social Security, with your nest egg. It's all about proper planning. This is the team, your nest egg, the amount of debt you have, your expenses, things you want to do. This is kind of your team you've got in front of you. These are your players, and you got to play the right players. Number one, if you get the surplus income in retirement right, if you get that, and I'm not kidding, and I know I harp on this week in, week out, but think about it. If your bills are $4,000 a month, $5,000 a month, and you have $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month coming in, you probably can reinvest in yourself. You probably can handle uh-ohs. You probably can handle, huge crises. You probably have a more calm urgency mindset when things go wrong. Nothing takes the place of surplus income in retirement, however you achieve it. Everybody's way of achieving surplus income in retirement is truly different. Every person we meet with. When I sat down with our planners and our investment team, I sat down with them from a standpoint. I have my ways of thinking, a way a person should plan their retirement. And then they have differences. And what helps us do is we communicate and come up with the best plan possible. I don't think I'm some kind of oracle. I know that I need a team behind me in order to build a plan for folks that come in and week out. And trust me, we see a lot of people. But the number one thing that people thank us for at our company, at Gaiser Financial Group, is the wisdom of, let me put it this way, it's the wisdom of surplus income and retirement, because things are going to happen and it'll take care of the differences. And that's really where it all begins.
All right, we're talking about some tips here to help you go through retirement successfully with a little bit of a football analogy, and I guess you've got to tackle inflation head on. Boy, I'd like to see how we can do that efficiently, but that is something we've got to consider, right?
Well, you tackle inflation efficiently. So how do they do it? They increase inflation by, probably real numbers are 22% over the last. So things are about a quarter. For everything you spent 75 cents for, now you're spending about $1, maybe just under $1, right? And that's just 3 short years ago. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you add it up, it is a whole lot. I mean, this administration just built last year are bragging about 3% growth, but their growth came from printed money. Their GDP came from printed money, and chasing things that are having tremendous problems that are being abandoned. Now we don't even have China, Japan buying our debt anymore. At what point is this going to end? At what point we have a higher interest rate on short-term bonds? The bottom line is tackling inflation begins with policy. The policy we've just experienced for the last 3 years has increased inflation through the roof. Inflation's got to be their number one issue, not spending off the charts and trying to change the direction of the world through some mythical boogeyman out there up in the sky. It's going to freeze over the whole earth or burn up the whole earth, whatever way you want to look at it. Depends on what year it is and what day it is. They've got to tackle real issues. If you're chasing a ghost, it's never going to happen. And that's where we are. So how do you tackle inflation? Trust me, they're going to put inflation is policy driven. I can't tell you, I'm 100% certain of that. It's policy driven. It doesn't just happen. So you've got to be prepared. And I think some ways to do that is, one, make sure you reduce your debt and eliminate your debt so that you can control your expenses a whole lot more. That's really the number one way. But inflation planning is a big deal when you're putting together a solid retirement plan. One of the biggest ways to do that, once again, is eliminate that debt. We've explored exactly how inflation can erode your purchasing power. I mean, if a dollar now costs $1.30, $1.35, today, what $1 bought 3 years ago, that just tells you can't get as many goods. And then when the majority of the jobs being created are government, we got another problem on our hands. And then we got 87,000 IRS agents. So yes, we've got big problems here, because assuming everything will cost the same as you get older, obviously is not going to be the case.
That is absolutely
Inflation is
true.
taxation without legislation. That's all it is. It's policy driven 100%. It's intentional.
Yes, sir. Well, when you have somebody that can't even walk, chew gum, and think of where he is leading the way, you've got some problems, and that's on only the financial level, never mind a military level, as we've seen last week. Anyway, have a backup plan just in case. We're talking football analogies with Bryan Gaiser, so when we're talking about taking care of ourselves to and through retirement, you got to have a backup plan because sometimes your primary plan may fail.
Let's just use an example. What if you're 2 years from retiring, but you're 4 years from paying off your mortgage? You might want to work 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm just saying right now, as crazy as the policies that are coming at us, you might want to think about that. Or at the bare minimum, get a part-time job that covers that mortgage until it's gone. And I'm not kidding. You got to think about it. You got to think differently. You got to plan differently. Surplus income in retirement also comes from paying off debts, right? So if you have $1,000 a month in debt that finally falls off, now you got an extra $1,000 of income. Got to look at where will I get increases in my income because I paid off debt. Really, really critical. If you got a low interest and you have really good assets, really good income, and you've got yourself a 2.25 mortgage, don't worry about paying off that mortgage if you have strong income. Just make sure you're planning in the event something happens. If you're a married couple, in the event something happens to one or two of you, because all of a sudden now you're a single filer. If your spouse passes away and you lost a Social Security, so they're going to gouge you more on taxes, and they're going to take an income stream from you. So you got to have a backup plan. Quarterbacks. You remember the old when Terrell Owens said, "That's my quarterback," crying and whatnot. Famous wide receiver for the Cowboys. In fact, that matter of offense, the offensive line is so big. Your offensive line, I'm telling you what your offensive line in your offense is. Surplus income in retirement gets you that extra second to throw the ball. That 1 second can make the difference in a game. It's the same thing in retirement. Surplus income in retirement, reducing your risk tolerance, checking it every year is so critical, folks. We are in a critical stage right now, worldwide, globally, because we have it. The more they push towards global, the harder this world's going to be on you, be on me. We need to stay separate. If we come one world government as the World Economic Forum and things of that nature continue to evolve, I'm telling you, you're going to have some problems. Not saying that to scare you, it's just a reality. So you've got to plan differently. And one of the big things you can do is eliminate debt, and then let's beat that problem.
All right. And finally, what can you do for our listeners? Because finding the right coach is key as well.
Mentor, if you want a relationship with someone, if you want to see what a relationship with my clients are, it's more of a mentor partnership, active role. I want you to have an active role. I want us to be more of a partnership than a client-based relationship. I'm going to be that mentor, but it's going to be kind of a partnership mentor. You need a coach who can help you maximize your potential as you plan for retirement. You want a good fit. You want to have good chemistry. You want to have it. You want your goals to be achievable. That's something big for us when it comes to fit. But more importantly, you just want to plan, even if we're not a fit. A great idea is to get a plan created with a team, my investment team. We have CFPs, CFAs on our investment team, and we go over everything in detail. We go over things in detail on how we plan to help this couple or help this person through retirement. No cost, no obligation. Don't even have to become a client. Take advantage of this offer. You just need to you need to give up a precious asset. That's your time. But you got to step up to the plate. Give us a call. I'd love to meet you. Have a couple of cups of coffee, maybe a bottle of water, whatever toots your horn. We'll put together a plan that's built around your retirement. But we're going to be honest with you. We're going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I hope that's okay. So, Chuck, tell them how.
All right. The easy way to do it is to give Bryan Gaiser a call, and it's 888-959-1641. That's 888-959-1641. And the first step is to sit down with Bryan Gaiser, and that's why we offer you this opportunity to review your individual circumstances. And again, it comes at no cost, no obligation. He's got people standing by to take your information. He'll get back to you to make that appointment, and it'll be an appointment that you will relish and learn a lot about. You will profit with the knowledge, and if there's any red flags, it could be potential problems for you in the future, Bryan Gaiser will be shedding light on a lot of topics that you might be struggling with as you head toward retirement. So make that phone call, 888-959-1641. That's 888-959-1641, and let Bryan Gaiser help you with Wealth Through Wisdom. Well, it's been a great show, but we've got one more segment.
We absolutely do, folks. We're going to be answering your questions. Yes, you, the listener. You have questions, we have answers. That and more coming up right next on Wealth Through Wisdom.
Many of us look forward to the day we retire. We look forward to having more time to spend with our families, enjoying every day, and maybe even taking that dream vacation out on the open road. Don't let the fear of uncertainty turn your retirement dream into a retirement nightmare. We can help you see how much risk you're taking, potential red flags that could cause problems for you down the road, such as tax liability, as well as a big one, how much you're paying in fees or commissions with your current plan or advisor. Call for a consultation, 888-285-0829, 888-285-0829. Bryan Gaiser of Gaiser Financial will take the time to get to know you, your retirement goals, get to know your unique financial situation, and building an income and protection and proper growth in your retirement plan, utilizing his P4 retirement process. 888-285-0829. Bryan Gaiser, 888-285-0829.
Here's our look at women of accomplishment, women who have soared to new heights and shattered the glass ceiling.
Growing up, Sally Ride was not only interested in science, she was also a nationally ranked tennis player. She earned a PhD in physics in 1978 while doing research on the interaction of X-rays with the interstellar medium. Ride was selected to be an astronaut as part of NASA Astronaut Group 8 in 1978, the first class to select women. She was one of 35 selected out of 8,000 applicants. In overcoming gender bias during a pre-space flight press conference, she was asked such ridiculous questions as, "Do you weep when things go wrong on the job?" and "Will the flight affect your reproductive organs?"
Liftoff of STS-7 and America's first woman astronaut.
Ride became the first American and the third woman in space aboard the Challenger in 1983. Many people attending the launch wore t-shirts that said, "Ride, Sally, Ride." She served on the committees that investigated the Challenger and Columbia Space Shuttle disasters, the only person to participate in both. Ride died of pancreatic cancer on July 23, 2012. Sally Ride, one of the many women to shatter the glass ceiling.
Wealth Through Wisdom with Bryan Gaiser continuing. Chuck Caton here along with Greensboro's own Bryan Gaiser. Remember that P4 retirement process is what he created. That's your financial compass so that you can retire with confidence. Remember, he's got a heart of a teacher. He's Greensboro's own. And again, be proactive, plan, pursue, prosper. That's what it's all about in that P4 process, which you can also learn by watching ABC 45 Sunday nights at 6 on Wealth Through Wisdom Television. With Bryan Gaiser. All right, let's talk about what people may have concerning them, and then I know your philosophical thoughts as well, Bryan, as we wrap up this program. So are you all set to go?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go to Burlington, and Nancy is there. And Nancy says, I'm one of the few with a pension, but I'm worried about it not keeping pace with inflation. There's that I word once again. So, Bryan, is there anything I can do?
Not keeping pace with inflation.
No
you
kidding.
Should be,
yeah,
actually.
Right.
I mean, yeah. Nancy, no doubt about it. You should be. And I love the little town of Burlington. But, Yeah, I'm glad you have the pension. Hopefully the pension sticks around. It's government pension. Most likely it probably will. A lot of other pensions possibly could be, but they should be back and should be able to hang around as well. What you want to do, you want to look at your big picture. First thing you want to do is you want to create a plan around your big picture. You want to look at and analyze what are the things that can go wrong and how do we fill that gap, right? That's basically what a financial planning session is all about. It's just collecting the data. It's almost like blood work to a doctor. You do your lab work. The doctor reads. I went in a week ago to do my lab work. This Tuesday, I have my doctor's appointment. He's going to already have my lab work, everything. So he's going to know all of the internal, if you will. He's already, in a sense, that's his questioning session. Then he's going to question me some more and ask me, what are you doing? You haven't gained any weight. That's good. Yada, yada, yada. And he's going to just tell me the good, the bad, and the ugly and how to fix it. That's exactly what you do. You got to look at your big picture. Does your pension and Social Security, is it enough? If it's not, you might want to look at creating a new pension, an additional pension for yourself. You can create your own. But the bottom line is surplus. You get your mindset, Nance, on surplus income and retirement. It normally will take care of about 80, 90% of your problems.
All right, let's go to Danville, Virginia now. Holly is there, and Holly says that my daughter's in her late 20s, has a really good job with good benefits. Should she look at contributing exclusively to a Roth 401k?
At this age, young, if she doesn't have a lot of debt and doesn't really absolutely make sense that pay taxes later, that paying taxes now on the seeds a lot better than paying on the harvest, especially at 20 years old. Imagine with a couple of $1 million, $2-3 million in a Roth IRA in the future. Yes, I would most likely that's going to be the case. Everybody's situation is different. But run the math. I mean, it really just boils down to the math. It's all dollars and cents. It truly is. It's numbers. And if I was you, I would just take a look at the numbers. High probability it's going to make way more sense for her to have Roth money instead of taxable money, especially since you have no control of how much they're going to tax her in the future. But zero is zero is zero. And I like that tax bracket.
Absolutely. The zero tax bracket. I don't know if I'll ever achieve that, but that's
gives
another.
You chills, doesn't it?
It does. I think I will be chilled underground by the time I get to that bracket, but it's a good thing, Hey, the thing I think about too, Brian, is that, and I know every generation will probably say this because we're always making advances in every category in life, whether it's medicine, finance. I just wish we had something like the Roth 401k when I was in my 20s. It would have been, for all of us, I think we can all say that. Or other financial vehicles that we have today, maybe rewind back about 30, 40 years ago. And I might not be doing this program with you,
Well, think about the logic, so I'm glad you don't. But anyways.
But I'd rather be doing the program with you, so.
Yeah, you'd be doing it because it's not the money. You just enjoy staying active, and it's so obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, you scratch golf. I mean, it's just unreal.
Yeah,
but,
I do.
That's right.
I scratch the ball once in a while. I scratch I take divots, everything. I do scratch a lot, and then I scratch other things too when I don't make a putt. But I don't know.
But no, really.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things. I mean, you've got to really think it through. Your retirement, when it comes to your retirement, you just got to be logical about it. You do got to think. You got to think out longer now. You can't be day to day anymore. There's so many variables. Kind of a hard question to answer. But you want to stay busy. You want to live by a schedule, even when you're retirement. You don't want to retire. Or in retirement. You want to transition into a new chapter in your life more so than retire. Retirement's just the word they call it. But I mean, if it's me, it's really about just true practical wisdom, doing practical things that work. Reduce clutter in your life, helps your brain. I don't know if it'll help certain people's brains, but it in a normal sense, it does help you. But it really just boils down to that.
All righty. Frank's in Advents, and we have, once again, Frank says, facing a big tax bill this year. I know it's early enough in the year to do something to maybe lessen next year's blow. So what are your thoughts on that? Reducing taxes, that should be a concern of a lot of people, especially people with a big nest egg in retirement.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in retirement, but you're not on Social Security, HSA plan, you get a dollar for dollar write off. Are you maxing out your 401k? If you're in retirement, are you looking at say, okay, they're going to continue to charge me these taxes. Should I beat them to the gun? Especially if you're not into RMDs yet, just go ahead and start your RMDs, but make those Roth IRA conversions so that when you do get to your IRA in the future, where you don't have, once again, year to year, we don't have control of what the tax is going to be. Next year, all they can talk about is massive taxes. So, and if it reverts back, folks, it's going to hurt the middle and lower class so much, along with inflation, taxes, because inflation is nothing but taxation without legislation. And I'm telling you, old Milton, he had it right, no doubt about it. So you really got to think about it from that standpoint. Hey, do I go ahead and pay the taxes now, continue to build on my assets, build on that Roth, get that Roth money up? Because, I mean, $300,000, if you can just get 5% on $300,000, that's an extra $15,000 a year tax free. May even pay, that pays a pretty large income in retirements. Social Security, pays your total tax bill. You just got to think, you got to be more creative. You got to be very strategic when it comes to retirement and how you plan your money.
All right, quickly on the last one from Summerfield. Jim says, I'm hoping to retire in 5 years, and I hear you saying things about retirement that I'm not hearing from my guys. So what kind of move should I be making now at 5 years from retirement?
You ought to make a move and say, hey, why don't I get a comparative plan and just take a look at it and see how it works? That's just recently I had a guy come in just to do a comparative plan, and now he's a client. And he's a client because why in the world didn't they talk about taxes, fees, and how much expenses and the headwinds of retirement? Why didn't we talk about risk assessment, not just throw a bunch of paper at me? Talk about risk assessment. This is what it looked like if the S&P drops 25%. The way you're structured, you would go down 9%. Those kind of things, you need to know those numbers. What if the S&P dropped 30%? How much would I drop? What if the S&P dropped 40%? How much would I drop? Can I handle that? And if you can't, you're probably taking too much risk. And the big thing for him is he was taking too much risk and didn't even know it and thought he wasn't. And I'm telling you, that's 8 out of 10 folks. That's because they don't have a financial plan that kind of spells these things out for them, knowing their surplus income in retirement. Sometimes surplus income can be in the way of dividends going back into you, like being paid back into your IRA, because now you're retired and you can't fund your IRA. Fund it with the properly built dividend type portfolio. Make that part of the plan. It might be a fit for you. Really, it's just about practical wisdom. That's why Chuck, there's just people have got to step up and realize if something doesn't feel right, then search out. And that's why we're here.
Mm-hmm. All right, some thoughts, and then we'll wrap the program up.
Practical wisdom, just some real quick things I'm just going to quickly tell you about a book. I'm a big fan of a guy named Dan Sullivan. He's the founder of Strategic Coach. And I'm telling you, he wrote one of the best books here recently. I just love it when another book comes out like Atomic Habits, which was from James Clear. But this guy, Dan Sullivan, and he wrote it with psychologist Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And it's built around how you see things, people that can stay calm in urgent scenarios, such as what we talked about, how Tom Brady can have such cool, and he's down by 14 points, and then he comes back and wins. Joe Montana had that ability. There are other quarterbacks that had that ability that could just stay calm in an ugly situation and not make these knee-jerk moves that end up losing the game for them. And it takes a special person, but what it takes is good, hard work, like we talked about, getting knocked to your knees, getting that good feeling that, hey, I came back. But how do you come back? It's because your repetition, when things aren't pressing, you're practicing and practicing for those moments. The Gap and the Gain. The Gap and the Gain. I recommend this book, Dan Sullivan with Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Excellent book. Best-selling authors. Read their other book, Who, Not How to get other people to help you achieve your goals. That's what we do. No cost, no obligation, folks. You don't even have to become a client. We're going to sit down, my team, my investment team, we're going to build a retirement plan that's built around you. Certified financial analysts on our team. We have certified financial planners on our team. A mix, because not every CFP, CFA, they don't all think the same. Folks in the retirement world, they don't all think the same. My center focus is surplus income and retirement will outride most any problem that you have. Folks, Allow us to build a plan for you. Chuck will tell you how.
All right, it's very simple, ladies and gentlemen. Give Bryan Gaiser a call. He's got people standing by to take your information so that he can call you back to make that no-cost, no-obligation appointment at 888-959-1641. That's 888-959-1641. Well, I don't know about you, but if your financial advisor really has your best interests at heart, you're fine. But it's never hurting to get a second opinion. And there's important topics that we've been talking about with football analogies on this show. And now's the time to bring the complex financial world into clarity and perspective. And that's what Bryan Gaiser can do for you, because it's all through wisdom. It's Wealth Through Wisdom. 888-959-1641 is the number. And this is a wonderful opportunity for you to get this true practical financial review. And remember, it comes at no cost, no obligation, and it's the core plan that leads to a comprehensive one. It's all about wealth through wisdom. 888-959-1641. Bryan, it's been a great show, and we'll enjoy the Super Bowl about a week from now, but what are your final thoughts?
Folks, it is about wealth through wisdom, making the complicated world of retirement simple with practical wisdom. Thanks for joining. We'll be back at you next week.
Bryan Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Bryan Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and education services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity from Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal issues may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions relative to these issues. This radio show is not endorsed or approved by the Social Security Office or any other government agency. An annuity is a long-term financial product designed largely for asset accumulation and retirement needs. All guarantees are backed by the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company.